So it's our CNB first look at the Kwid AMT. The CNB exclusive review of the T100 from Triumph. Fiat's latest, the Avventura Urban Cross. Hey folks, I'm Siddharth Vinayak Parthankar. I hope all of you had a wonderful Diwali, and all of us here at CNB would like to wish you a great year ahead. We'll move on straight away into that first promised review, the T100 from the Bonneville series from Triumph. Here it is. The Triumph Bonneville T100 has arrived in India and completes the new family lineup of the modern classics from the British bike maker. Triumph had announced in 2015 that the Bonnie range is expanding from 2 bikes to 5. And it's steadily brought us almost all of them now. The T120, Thruxton and Thruxton R are the range toppers, though we don't get the regular Thruxton in India, while the Street Twin is the new entry bike that sits just below the T100, and all the bikes have a classical style to them. So if you like retro, then frankly the styling on this bike is going to appeal to you so much, because every element you see here, of course, gives you a little bit of that retro feel, but it's almost intentionally done because it's a hark back to the very first T100 from Triumph, which came out in 1959. So especially the way you see the fuel tank has been sculpted, you've got coach lines on this, and even the seat, the flat nice seat, it gives you a different sort of a stance. Certainly a lot more striking than the last Bonnie was. Completing the retro styling are the wire 32-spoke wheels and the typical Triumph P-shooter twin exhausts. The twin instrument bezels are finished in chrome, and while they maintain the classic look, are modern in their function, giving you a trip computer, distance to empty, real-time mileage and a clock. The engine is the same as the Street Twins, that is the 900cc parallel twin unit that puts out 54 bhp and 80 Nm of peak torque with a 5-speed gearbox mated to it. Now the thing you notice with the T100 straight away is its really ample ride quality. The bike doesn't flinch, it doesn't shudder, it gives you this total sense of satisfaction and control, even at speeds of 2 triple digits. The bike is indeed a pleasure to ride. Now it has to be said that for a while now, whatever we've got from Triumph has been easy to ride and handle. The T100's strongest suit is its handling. The bike is so easy to maneuver that it darts through traffic and coasts beautifully on the open road too. It has a nice playful character, and its engine's throaty rumble also keeps you interested. The bike has a good suspension too, another USP given Indian road conditions that we have to deal with. And the part I think that really sits well with me is that the T100 isn't trying too hard. It isn't overly masculine or heavy. And it isn't excessively powerful either. So it gives you comfort and peace of mind. But drop a gear and twist the throttle and it still leaps into action fairly quickly. It's also a modern bike and so comes with ride-by-wire, switchable traction control with optimal torque delivery and also ABS. The tail light is LED, and the T100 also gets a USB power socket so you can charge your smartphone on the go. It's a pleasurable and fun bike to use on daily commutes and also does just enough to allow you the occasional weekend jaunt. Its good engineering and stability make this a good package, given you can spend almost 8 lakh rupees on your two-wheeler, of course. So the Triumph T100 coming very soon after its global debut here to India as well. Now we move on to the new Fiat in town, the Urban Cross. It was first shown to us at the Auto Expo and is now in the market. It is essentially built exactly like the Aventura, but it adds on to it. Here's our review.
The story of the Fiat Avventura Urban Cross began at the 2016 Delhi Auto Expo, where we saw the crossover in a new form. LED headlamps, chrome grille and red interiors. Well, the production version isn't that flamboyant, it's reserved and fairly familiar.
Fiat isn't shying away from calling this one the Avventura Urban Cross. So it's an urban crossover, and well, it gets updates in the front of a new front grille, and well, it basically loses the spare wheel. But there is an essential confusion, which is between which car it actually is. Is it the Aventura, is it the Punto Evo, or is it an Urban Cross? Which is when a poem comes to mind, one by Henry Lay, which basically says, in form and feature, face and limb, I look so like my brother that folks kept taking me for him, and each for one another. And that basically summarizes what the confusion is between all three cars.
Available in 2 diesel and 1 petrol trim, the Aventura Urban Cross carries over a lot more than just looks from its brother. It carries the engines as well.
But there's no surprise on the bonnet as well, because it's powered by the 1.4 litre petrol and the 1.3 litre diesel. What we are driving is the 1.4 litre petrol powered by a Abarth, and it punches out about 138 brake horsepower. So that is quite a lot for this kind of car. And well, it drives also pretty well. The steering, you know, it's similar to the Aventura Abarth that was brought out earlier. So no huge surprises here, which is why you can actually turn into a corner and expect it to react, and it is a very, very good feeling, trust me. Otherwise the gearbox reacts pretty alright. There is minimal turbo lag actually in this engine, and you kind of enjoy putting your foot down, especially in the petrol one.
There's ample power available after the 2000 RPM mark, and you feel the 138 horses warming up to pull you through. It's after 2000 RPM that the torque is available, and the 210 Newton meters kicks in till about 4200 RPM, and the strong mid-range power keeps the wheels turning. Fiat claims that the Aventura Urban Cross can sprint from 0 to 100 km per hour in just 9.7 seconds, by the way. The second motor is the tried and tested 1.3 litre diesel, which produces 90 brake horsepower. With this one, there's always been an issue with turbo lag, and well, it continues here too. The diesel motor is happy at a range above 2200 RPM, as that is when the 209 Newton meters of torque kick in. The cabin noise is contained for the most part, but once the needle crosses the 4400 RPM mark, things get a bit noisy. Both engines come mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox, which is quite spongy, and the long throws of the gears put you off. In fact, the long travel of the clutch pedal too is a bit uncomfortable, and you'd get tired of shifting, especially in stop-start traffic conditions in cities. Fiat claims to have slightly tweaked the suspension for a softer ride, but well, if there is a difference, it's a minor one, because the ride feels the same as the Aventura. It does swallow undulations and potholes with ease though. The cabin is similar to the Aventura's too, but it gets a refreshing dual-tone beige ebony theme, giving it a better sense of space. There's use of soft touch material on the dash too. But the big change is the 5-inch touchscreen system. This was available in the top variants of the Punto Evo and the Linea, but is now part of standard equipment on the Urban Cross. The display is smart and it boasts features like navigation, SD card, USB interface. However, it did not connect either the Apple or Android devices via USB, only over Bluetooth. The diesel misses out on features like steering mounted controls, climate control and a rear AC vent. All of these are, however, available on the petrol Emotion trim only. The diesel variant also loses the single driver side airbag from the petrol, though ABS with EBD are available on the diesel's dynamic trim only. So not quite an all-new car and no real new features too. Add that to the features that go missing on the diesel and well, it seems the petrol is the way to go here. The 1.4 T-Jet variant powered by Abarth, which is a pretty comprehensive package. Fiat claims a fuel economy figure of 17.1 kilometers per litre. The Urban Cross comes at an introductory price of 6,85,000 rupees for the base variant diesel, while the top-end diesel costs 7,45,000 rupees. The more powerful petrol version costs less than the Aventura Abarth and is priced at 9,85,000 rupees, which is not a bad bet considering the features on offer and of course that T-Jet engine.
It's the news petrolheads have been waiting for. Carandbike.com in full throttle. Now get access to all the info you need about cars and bikes. Throw confusion away about which car or bike to buy with a cool recommendation tool. Get advised by none other than Siddharth Vinayak Patankar.
So it's our CNB first look at the Kwid AMT, or Easy R as Renault likes to call it. This is the new automated manual transmission version of the Kwid. Something that's been expected for some time. It was first shown to us at the Auto Expo in February, and then I can tell you that it was almost intentionally delayed in a sense by Renault, because the whole idea was that Renault wanted to perfect that AMT system. So before I go inside and show it to you, what you're looking at right now is the 1 litre variant of the Kwid, because the AMT is only available on the 1 litre, and that's something that just recently drove into the market. Remember, RXT tells you that this is the top end trim, and that's something else I can tell you, that the AMT will only be available on the top end RXT. And there's a very small little badge down here which says Easy R. It's the same badging that we have on the Duster AMT. It's called Easy R there as well, and that's really the only visual or external change on this particular variant. So except for that badge, everything else about the car is everything you already know about the Kwid in terms of its trim, the color options, and of course how the car looks. So as I said, we first saw the Renault Kwid AMT at the 2016 Auto Expo in February this year. The preview had promised two things: building on the strength and success of the Kwid, and also an AMT minus the gear stick. Renault has already launched the 1 litre variant of the Kwid 2 months ago, and now has the AMT version finally ready to go, and we have it first. Renault says it has designed the system in-house, though hardware has come from Bosch and the software to run it from FEV. But the calibration and fine-tuning has been carried out by Renault's engineers. Renault likes to brand the car Easy R like it did with the Duster AMT, but is happy to call it AMT anyway. The big USP on this car is that Renault has totally done away with the gear stick and has opted for a rotary dial instead. The simple dial sits on the central console and has 3 positions: R for reverse, N for neutral and D for drive. So how does the car drive? First, accept that all AMTs will always take some getting used to and will never be as smooth as a conventional automatic or CVT. Given that, the level of smoothness on the Kwid is a surprise. Now between first and second you get a little bit of that tug or hesitation. That's very typical of AMTs, but it's still not very pronounced. After that though, I have to say that all the rest of the gear changes are really smooth. It's almost surprising how smooth. Downshifts even more so. Again, a great surprise. The decision always had been that the AMT would only come on the 1-litre Kwid. The specs remain identical to that car, and so you get almost 67 bhp and a solid 91 Nm of peak torque, making it a little more spirited to drive than the 800cc Kwid. Now there's one big difference between this and other AMTs, or even automatics for that matter. This car does not have the creeping function. What is that? Well, I'm at standstill right now, my foot's not on the brake and the car is in D, but it's not moving. Why is that a big deal? Well, it seems that a lot of market research brought some of that feedback into Renault, that a lot of AMT buyers find that a little disconcerting. They don't really appreciate the fact that you have to always keep your foot on the brake, even when you're at a traffic light, or if you're just wanting to keep the car static. It was always seen as a point of irritation. So now you have that option. You can keep your foot on the brake, or you don't have to, and the car won't keep inching forward. It gives you a little bit more control, almost like a manual would, something that a lot of manual drivers will find more comforting, because remember, a lot of manual drivers are switching to the AMT mainly for the convenience or the comfort of it and nothing else. Renault has also decided that since the majority of its 1-litre Kwid sales are concentrated to the top-end variant anyway, the AMT2 will only be offered on the RXT. This could change if Renault sees a demand for the same, but for now expect the AMT variant to come with the driver's side airbag and touchscreen navigation. Renault will announce prices and officially launch the Kwid AMT later this week, though I expect a 40,000 rupee premium at the very least over the top-end RXT trim on the Kwid 1-litre. With that, it's a wrap on the program. Please join us on the show next week. So as always, I will implore you to please wear your seatbelts or your helmets. Bye-bye.
It's the news petrol heads have been waiting for. Carandbike.com in full throttle. Now get access to all the info you need about cars and bikes. Throw confusion away about which car or bike to buy with a cool recommendation tool. Get advised by none other than Siddharth Vinayak Patankar.